Good morning. We are in not a holding position, but the world is confused. They don't know which direction America is going to take, and therefore there are doubts in the economic markets, and Wall Street reflects that. And there are Jews who glee in the prospect of ejecting Donald J. Trump from being the President of the United States. And that's because they believe that it is in the best interest of the world that he be removed from office. After all, he's flamboyant, narcissistic, selfish, too rich for his own good, and too successful for the rest of us to tolerate. Which is silly, because America was built by successful people who were flamboyant and narcissistic, and totally self-absorbed, and in the process also hired tens of thousands of people. One only has to go to Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, and people like that, Andrew Carnegie. They were totally self-absorbed, totally within themselves, into their own issues, to what they wanted out of life, and what they felt was important. And they built companies, and the companies created cities and environments and created industries. And that's what built America. And Donald J. Trump is from that same mold. He's a little bit more flamboyant. He gets what he wants. It's too bad. He gets what he wants. He's a big, rich kid, and he's still a kid. At age 72, he's still a rich kid. He's probably 17 in his own mind. And he says whatever he comes to his mind, and sometimes it's stupid, and sometimes it's not, and sometimes it's insightful. That's irrelevant. The Parsha, you see, is called Vayetze, not Vayavo. It's he came from, not, and he approached or he entered. This talks about a Jew who left his home, his parental home, where he grew up, where he was given a great measure of Jewish background. And he was forced, because of circumstances, because of danger to life, such as the pogroms, such as Nazification of Europe, such as all different kinds of blood libels and attacks on Jewish people. And he was forced to leave his homeland, his country, his family, and to come to America. Most of the time, people felt they were coming to America instead of going from their country. So the Torah tells us, Vayetze Yaakov Be'er Sheva. This wasn't Yaakov going to Haran to do good, to marry the beautiful girl, to become rich and successful. This was Yaakov who came from Be'er Sheva. He knew where he came from. He identified. Ich bin a greener. I'm a greenhorn. You know where I come from? I come from Tomashav Lebelsk. My mother comes from Neville. That's who I am. I'm a Tomashover. I'm a Nevler. I'm not a New Yorker or a Bostoner or a Detroiter or a Farmington Hillser. I come from Jewish people. I come from a Jewish environment. And that made me who I am and who I could ultimately become. That's what Yaakov's message is to all Jews at all times. The problem with American Jewry is they've exchanged the Torah and the religion of the Jews for the Democratic Party and for whatever the Democratic Party platform tells them to. They become anti-Israel, whether you like it or not. The young people are anti-Israel. They are pro-BDS. They are Looney Tunes. Anybody who's pro-BDS against Israel needs his head examined, or else he is an Arab or an Arab lover. Now, that doesn't mean the Arabs don't deserve to be loved, but those people who promote BDS want only the destruction of the Jewish people. There are many wonderful Muslims in this world, probably most of them. They're very hospitable and they're very kind people, and industrious and bright. But there exists within them an element that hates others, hates Christianity, but even more so hates the Jewish people. Why the Jewish people? Because they were the first. Guess what? Muhammad learned about God from Jewish synagogues. A lot of the materials that Muhammad talks about in the Quran could not have been taken from Jewish scripture because those scriptures were non-existent. The interpretations he has, the insights he has to Jewish tradition came from what is called Midrash. The Midrash was developed between the years 400 to about 700 or 800 and were later recorded. Even though the Midrash quotes scholars that were from Talmudic times, it's clearly the Midrash was completed far later than the Talmud. And it is the interpretation of the Midrash that were discussed in the synagogues during the time or after the time of the reading of the Torah. And it is clear that Muhammad went to synagogues as well as churches to find out what they were saying, what they were doing, because he believed in his life's mission to bring monotheism to his part of the world, to the Arab world, and later on, of course, the belief to spread it to the whole world. But it came from Jews. Its original place of incubation was the Jews. And that's why some of the Muslim clerics hate Jews, because we denied Muhammad. We called him a false prophet. The reasons we called him a false prophet is because he did not prophesy. He didn't speak in God's name. Furthermore, a prophet cannot change the Torah. If he tries to change the Torah, he's a false prophet. By definition, Muhammad was a false prophet. Doesn't mean he wasn't a great teacher. He was a great teacher. He had great insights, and he changed an entire part of the world, a very significant part of the world, for better, without any question. But there are people who hate Jews because we rejected him. And we had good reason to reject him, based on our own beliefs and our own traditions. So, those who follow, those who want BDS, are following blindly the Muslim clerics who demand jihad of their followers that includes mass killings of millions of people. So if you are part of that movement, the Democratic Party, the liberal wing of the Democratic Party, the extreme liberal wing, and you're promoting BDS and you're Jewish, you're committing suicide and demanding that they kill your parents and grandparents and everybody who bears a Jewish name, because that's what they want. It's a shame. The reason why it's happened is because you did not follow the lesson of Jacob. Jacob said, I come from Be'er Sheva. I'm a Be'er Shevite. I'm not a Haranite. I'm here in Haran, but it's only temporary. We were in Babylon, in Persia, in all the countries of the Middle East, North Africa, Spain, France, Germany, England, Italy, Bulgaria, Czechoslovakia, Hungary, Austria, Poland, Belarus, Russia, and all of the Middle Asian states of Russia, the Russian Empire. We've been through all of those people as exiles. But in all the exiles, we never forgot that we are exiles from our holy land. Our land, our ultimate land, is Israel. As long as I'm alive and I live in this country, I support the United States, and I only want the benefit of the United States. But I believe in the coming of Mashiach. At any moment, Mashiach will come and take all of us back to Israel. That's my belief. And therefore Israel has to be strong. And Israel has to be alive. And Israel is the only democracy within the Middle East. The only one. Place where Muslims and Christians and other religions have freedom of religion and the freedom to vote and to exercise their free choices. Something denied them in almost all of the countries in the East and the Far East. Isn't that incredible? The one country that allows freedom to all religions, the one country is called an apartheid state, because it's the one country where Jews can say, I'm safe here, and this is my home.